Hello and welcome to the newest of the RuneScape podcast. This time we're going to be talking about Dishonour among Thieves, and I'll be your host, Mod Osborne, because Mod Matt he is ill. Got a touch of the throatiness.
You don't want that.
Sad times.
And just like the start of Dishonour among Thieves, I've gathered together a group of brigands, and start with
Mod Ollie, content developer on Dishonour among Thieves.
I'm Mod Chaose. I am a QA tester and general shifty guy.
I am Mod Tim, and I'm lead developer and product owner for the Dukes.
Superb. Okay, so just a quick note. I'm going to be spicing it up a little bit. This is what happens when you leave me in charge of things. We're coming up to Quest 200. This was 199, wasn't it?
It was.
So your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to fit the names of quests seamlessly into this podcast.
All 200.
And I will not let you leave until you've done all 200.
Mission impossible.
No.
It's going to be a long day.
So I've got a little scoreboard here, just a little fun aside. They've got to be seamless. I'm not having you just kind of name-checking.
Are we doing this as one small favour for you, or, you know?
I'll accept that. Ollie has score one. That's been taken off the board.
Dear.
All right. So the plan for the podcast is to talk over Dishonour among Thieves, which just came out. Congratulations.
Exciting times.
Yes. So to start off, why should I play Dishonour among Thieves if I haven't started it yet?
Well, there's a great deal of reasons, I think. There's all sorts of... It's quite a long and beefy quest. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of... fair amount of lore in there. There's a good few combat challenges. There's a few puzzle challenges in there as well.
Mixed bag.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, yeah. We certainly tried to get quite a variety of different kind of gameplay styles and different things to experience within the quest. Pretty tasty set of rewards as well.
Yeah?
So
Go on, tease me with one.
You know,
Tempt me with it.
I could just easily say XP, couldn't I? But that would be the easy route out.
You know me too well.
We've got, for example, there is a thieving cape. This is a cape with a variety of different benefits on it for intermediate level players, as is the level of the quest.
Are there any other requirements for it?
It's intermediate, as in it's kind of like balanced and pitched at that level.
Right.
But in terms of requirements, it doesn't have any requirements beyond, of course, completing the quest.
The rewards are going to be best for you if you're at an intermediate level, but what we did to try and make them still appealing to high level players is make them unlock as cosmetic overrides as well. So Jerry's cape is really cool, but if you're not an intermediate level player, it might not be as useful, but you can still use it as cosmetic override.
And if you still want the benefits and you're really high level, you'll also see those on the completionist cape.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I might be stealing some of these ideas for our project. Cool. And how has the quest changed? Because I'm always interested in this one. You've had that first design document, and I don't think players get to see how much things change over the course of it.
I'm trying
what
to
was
think
that opening quest?
What the first design document was like, how different it was.
So I think a lot of the team gathering mechanics and sort of backstories to those are quite different.
Yeah.
The original Nomad one was incredibly different.
It was left quite open. I
we had a few different
actually,
ideas for it too.
especially with characters like Nomad and like Khazad and stuff, I think we fleshed them out and made them a lot more interesting and involved a lot more of their backstory and lore. But we did cut down on sort of mechanics and stuff because the initial design document was like super ambitious. It was ambitious.
I think that happens with every project, doesn't it? You know,
and I mean it's ambitious as it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to cut down a little bit on those sections. But I can't think it was that much.
I think we changed like the ordering of things slightly.
Yeah. Maybe.
So after the initial design document, Ollie put together like a diagram, like a flow chart, to kind of like weigh up the different parts. So you've kind of got like the narrative elements, like the dialogue, and then you've got sort of puzzle elements, and then you've got like combat elements, putting it very, basically into those three areas. And you kind of want to have like a nice spread. You don't want to have like all the dialogue at the beginning of the quest and then all of the actual fun gameplay mechanics at the end. And we were quite worried, or we were conscious, I should say, from the beginning that we would need to have quite a lot of dialogue at the start in order to set the scene and to introduce recruit the various different characters.
So it doesn't sound like there was anything ridiculous about it. You don't ride Zamorak into battle or anything like that.
Although
major.
Siske 3.
Just holding on to the horns.
Just trying to imagine that now.
But there were no rewards that were changed, or there were options for other rewards, perhaps? Because I know you brainstormed it at one point. I remember going to a meeting room and seeing them all up on a board.
We tend to do that quite often with every project. We just throw all of the ideas out
we literally
and then
go in
pick
there
the
and
best ones out.
Splatter a wall with all the ideas that come out of our head and see what sticks, basically. And yeah, there was tons of ideas for like awesome stuff, but yeah, obviously once we settled on a Jerry's cape, upgraded mask, that sort of stuff.
Sweet. Okay, and what's the reaction been to the quest? Because it's out now.
Largely positive, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's been positive. Like the sort of engagement in the quest seemed to be quite good. We're quite pleased with the amount of time that it's taken people to play through it.
Oh yeah, all the maths of it, all the stats, all the BI.
That's perhaps that interests me perhaps more than anybody else.
Yeah,
but like we always want to produce a quest where there's a decent amount of play time in it, and getting starting to get the details back to see how long it's taking people to get through the quest.
Yeah, it's been quite interesting. I mean, I've had a look at some of the feedback. There's been some people who've really liked certain aspects, some people who've found them a bit frustrating, and like everybody likes a different part of it. They kind of take what they want from it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we try to get lots of different playstyles in, I think.
Yeah.
I think Lorehounds have really been swept away.
Nice.
Oh, wait, yeah, cheers.
Nice.
I haven't missed any, have I? I think you need to hold up a hand when you're doing one. Awesome. For example, I mean, there's been lots of love for that boss encounter. I was wondering how you made a good boss, for my own personal.
Well, that's what I kind of consider to be my, that's my favourite thing to develop, bosses. Yeah. I like the sort of succinct, sort of all-in-one experience of developing that, but also the mechanics and stuff I really enjoy, and that was something I wanted to do for the quest. And then as far as making a good boss goes, it's just sort of finding a set of mechanics that work nicely together, and then I think the environment plays a big part in it as well, and just getting all that right. And then I think I did the boss first, and then I was
really early build. Yeah. That was the first thing we get feedback on.
Prototyping it kind of because it's quite complex.
Yeah, so I prototyped it, and then I wanted people to play it as soon as possible, because just playing and getting feedback and iterating is important on anything, but on a boss that's really important as well.
Do you find yourself chucking things out as well?
There were actually mechanics that I chucked out, and changing what health percentage the phase changes and stuff like that. But what's interesting that some people might not know is that some of the stuff in there came out of the Builder boss at RuneFest.
Yeah.
So when the boss changes phase, pulls you in, and then roundhouse kicks you to the floor and just explodes into a demon, and that came straight out of RuneFest when we spent the entire day developing a boss there. Yeah. So yeah, it was cool to be able to get that in game.
Kind of player input. That's really nice. Yeah. And another thing people seem to comment on is the degree of choice, and that's I mean, narrative design. I know how difficult it is to get choice right. Do you think you've achieved that? I mean, what have been player feedback?
I think so. We've got the branching endings at the end, and we're really making history with that. A couple of interesting choices at the end, which are going to have an effect on future content, I think. And I've already had players asking me, can we have some more Nomad stuff soon? So, well, I hope so. I hope we don't have to wait 6 or 7 years again.
Yeah. It's great to have him back in after waiting so long after Nomads Requiem.
Yep.
That doesn't count.
It totally does.
Checked.
I mean, there were no rules. So straight out.
People heard that straight out. I said no name checking and dropping. You just did it. I'm tempted to just strike out your one. Don't do that. All right, let's get back to our roots, because what we've got is... No, that was terrible. There were a couple of comments about the Nomads. Actually, spoilers. Little spoiler tag. Turn off now.
I would expect anyone who's listening to this to expect spoilers.
Exactly. This is a bit of a kind of look back.
He's shared a fair amount that he's involved
exactly.
to a certain extent.
But the kind of the ending of Nomad, and there is a bit of choice within that won't be reflected in future quests, but will it be? I suppose you might even turn to me for this one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hopefully.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I think that decision at the end kind of makes it so we have to.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, players are so aware of what happened with Haziel, that Haziel had took a back seat in future quests because for some he was dead, for some he was alive. So it's a case of we are accommodating the cost of a wildly changed NPC based on a choice. Yeah. And that is going into... in particular, that kind of end quest. Standard Jazz storyline will obviously end. We're allowing for that to be kind of riddled with kind of differences and divergence based on choice.
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard. Who will get it, though?
Sorry for whoever has to develop that.
Yeah. It's going to be you, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. You included Jared Now, Jared's from a RuneScape novel.
Yeah.
It's from all 3 novels.
All 3, indeed, you're right. Was there an additional difficulty in doing that?
I think
to a degree.
I think like making sure that we were familiar with the novels. So I think at least 3 of us, and I think other people in the team as well, were familiar with them already. You know, at least having read perhaps like the first book at the very least. But I think quite a few of us have read them at a distance in the past, and you always want to stay true.
At a distance.
Sorry,
I like. I'm just imagining that.
Distance through a telescope.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it normally.
Make it even more difficult.
The fact that we've he's the first character that was just a RuneScape novels character, and that we've like brought to life in the game, which makes him kind of one of a kind. And so it was difficult to sort of like know his backstory and stuff, having like I hadn't read all the books, so to get to grips with that and then make sure that that's explained to players who haven't met him before, but we're not just like reiterating boring stuff for people.
For those people who haven't been in contact with him. I'm giving myself a point there.
I don't think you had an exclamation mark on that.
You didn't really
take away the one.
Make that clear.
I think this game might be ruining the whole podcast.
Essentially. Just engineering situations for...
Yeah, that's it. Completely tangential.
I'm not really sure it was wanted.
Oh, I like that a lot. Okay.
At least give me one. Let's give one.
It's half-time scores, by the way. Phil is on 2, Ollie is on 2, Tim is on 1, Dave is on -1. There we go. All right, so there has been critical feedback. It's not all been positive. There have been some people who've picked up on individual things. I think the greatest deal of that is probably on the stealth puzzle and the vault door, that maybe it is kind of difficult, maybe occasionally counterintuitive or infuriating. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's definitely something that we're looking at the moment. We're very much aware of it. It's also something that we've looked at a fair amount during development. So talking about the vault door puzzle specifically, it is something where there were a variety of usability tweaks that we made during development to try and make it easier. We were very much aware that we needed to kind of strike that balance right. We did have people play it around the office, but the response was quite varied. There was quite a lot of people that said, "Hey, this is really easy,"
which is true to the
and some people that
as well.
Some people that said it was difficult, and that was kind of mimicked in the initial.
I sent you a brash email, didn't I? Kind of like, I can't do it.
It's too difficult. Make it easy.
Help me.
That's a really difficult puzzle to solve as well. Like, because we don't want to just totally nerf these things and make them super easy, because then we get equally bad feedback that it was too easy. But the fact that puzzle is sort of, we wanted to do something that drew on all these different powers of each character, put them together in sort of a high pressure situation, and then it's a very difficult thing to sort of execute. It's quite a contrived puzzle to have, something that just uses all these specific abilities.
Yeah.
And then once it was in place, trying to just get enough feedback and iterate on it. It was just a very difficult puzzle to get right from the off.
I find it's often not very helpful to call a puzzle easy or difficult. I mean, when you aim for a puzzle or these kind of sections, you've got to aim to be immediate. A player's got to understand what it is immediately and what they have to do, and then be fair. They never feel it's the problem of the game.
Making it fair was something that we were constantly concentrating on. That was something I was always bringing up, saying as long as it feels fair when you fail, then it's not frustrating. But I think that was probably something we struggled to get right. Was just definitely always making it fair, and also the other point you made that that puzzle was never going to be easy to understand just on face value.
I think it gets there. I think the immediacy of the puzzle, I think it gets right. I think players have possibly pulled up on the fairness.
I think we should aim to try and go for about people trying 1 or 2 times before they cracked it, which I think largely we've managed.
Yeah. Do you have allocated time to look at it? Or do you think there will be any changes?
I'd like to think that there will be something, but as Ollie says, we want to be really careful that we don't nerf it. We don't want to make it ridiculously easy. The only thing I wanted to kind of say was that another part of the challenge of that puzzle was that it was explaining things in a visual manner. We ended up using a fair amount of text in order to explain how the mechanics were working, and that's never the most ideal way of explaining how a mechanic works. Ideally you should just kind of, like you say, see it on face value, see the visuals. You shouldn't have to kind of read through instructions to understand how a puzzle works, because reading isn't generally quite as fun as doing. So, maybe that's some element we might need to look at, is how we can demonstrate what's required of the player in a more visual manner as opposed to a text-based one.
Connected to all of this is, some have pointed out that this is an intermediate quest and maybe the difficulty feels higher than intermediate. What's your thoughts on how kind of difficulty classifications come into it?
Yeah, when you're developing something and you've coded every bit of it, and you know all the ins and outs, and it's difficult you play it, and it just seems really easy because you just know exactly how to do it. And then you can get other people that play it and they find it easy as well, but it definitely depends on the person, because some other people will just find it really difficult. So I think to sort of classify a quest based on the puzzles is maybe not necessarily a good idea. Like, I think normally when we classify the difficulty of a quest, we do it a lot on combat requirements and things like that as well. Puzzles,
combat skill and quest requirements, generally in how Sarah it's done.
Yeah, and puzzles are a very difficult thing to sort of quantify the difficulty of, I think.
Yeah, it's really royal trouble. And
it's a recipe for disaster.
It really is. I think it's a problem we've always had, and we probably always will have, with balancing. One of the really early examples I can think of is the sliding puzzle in Monkey Madness, which turned up in Clue Scrolls later.
Yeah.
And effectively, if you couldn't do it, there was a buyout option, which I don't think was the best way to go.
You just have to say Elemental Workshop 3 to me and I, go a quiver.
See, I love that puzzle. I think it's beautiful.
See, different people have different opinions. All right, will we be able to replay the cutscene?
Yes.
Whether I do it in my own time.
Honestly, like we were discussing it because there's various post-quest things people have asked for.
Yeah.
So I sort of pitched it to the guys, like, we should put in some post-quest dialogue, and we should put in some like the ability to replay the cutscene. Post-quest dialogue is a lot more difficult because you have to have not only the dev time to write it, put it in, you have to have the editing time, the translation time, but rewatching the cutscenes, at least some of them, is really quick to do and easy, and it's been done in other quests. So Tim's smiling away over there because I'm not sure he's 100% as confident as I am. But.
No, I agree. I'm smiling because, like, Ollie pitched it rightfully so, and my response is, let's worry about the puzzle first, and then let's a slightly higher priority, and then we'll worry about that.
And people come back to you with things that they've already pitched that everybody wants. Well, it's horrible.
Just give me the time, Tim. I'll sort
it
all out.
Well, it's been promised now, let's do it.
Excellent. A few people were worried that they would have to side with Zamorak in the quest. And just by the nature of it, Zamorak heist. Do you feel you've given players enough options to not? Sorry?
This was always a problem at the start. We wanted people to play the quest and not just instantly turn up and go, oh, I don't want to play with Zamorak, so no.
It's inherently a problem with the quest. I mean, with my original pitch of the Zamorak heist. Yeah.
So even at the very start, we have an option to just flat out lie to Moya and say, no, I'm definitely going to help you out, honest. So that kind of helps, but I think initially just getting people to even go and talk to her in the first place is a problem.
It's tough. I think, like, it's difficult because it's Zamorak's heist off the start, and just getting people who don't like Zamorak involved in that. Even no matter how much you say, you can sabotage this at the beginning, there's always going to be some people who are like, I don't even want to go along with him a little bit, because, I mean, you can't have two completely different paths where one is go and tell your god that.
Yeah, you have a two-stage quest where you say no and then you get your reward kind of thing.
But, like, I mean, as the quest goes on, I think I've seen some people tweet me saying, I was a Zerosian, but I really felt for Zamorak, like in that cutscene in For In 3 and stuff. So it has swung some people. I think you'd have to have a heart of stone to not be able to sympathise with him a little bit.
That's good. Slam dunk. You guys have made... I mean, I know you two have made a number of quests within your scrum. You've had Broken Home,
Mighty Fall before that.
Mighty Fall before that. What's been the has there been a difference in making this quest, or do you find you're getting better at it and things like that?
It's difficult because each quest is really quite unique. Like this was very, very different to Broken Home, for example.
Broken Home was massively different to like a lot of other quests, like in its development. Like we've discussed it a lot because we developed this in a different way to Broken Home, I think, because this is like a linear quest where sort of like we chose to develop chunks of it along the way and like prioritize different chunks. But Broken Home was sort of like, it's all in the house, it's all encompassed
It's a self-contained, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, it's all encompassed by this like saving loading system, like peeking through doors and stuff. So it's kind of like we built the systems around Broken Home and then sort of built the quest into the mansion and built the path. So they were completely different developing the two.
So this was easier, was it?
Well, we were certainly worried about time as well, because blood runs deep and people have some real expectations for this quest.
I think I'm allowed that one.
Tenuous.
Yeah, we really wanted to put more time into it, but I think we still pulled it off really well with the...
It's different doing a horror as well, like, because Broken Home was RuneScape's first horror, like survival horror that we tried to do, and then it was also the first repeatable quest. So we were really trying to make the world wake up with that one.
Excellent. What are you most proud of with the quest? If you had to pick out one single moment each of you.
I can't pick out one. There's too many.
It's all good.
It's one rolling brilliant moment.
I honestly just love the whole vault bit at the end. It's also like action packed and the.
Do you mean the vault puzzle or the vault?
Once you're into the vault,
yeah.
I think everyone, once they're past that vault door puzzle, like that's past the sort of most difficult parts, and they've like enjoyed the boss and fighting as Nomad, and then the cutscenes. Like some people have been blown away by the cutscenes, and then the ending's pretty explosive. So just that sort of
it's that window into a pillar moment as well. It's really nice. I love that cutscene.
I'm really pleased with our graphics guys. They're amazing at what they do. So, Mod Lukev, who has done the hideout, looks amazing.
Everyone's
Audio's
doing
been cracking.
screenshots of
Mod Shazam, with the Zamrak model, just blown it out of the water, taken the original concept and just done it to a T. Even
And
the
Jared
filigree on
Nomads
the
as
road.
well.
Moment, yeah. I remember those moments where you revealed them on live streams when everybody could see them.
Yeah, I mean Zemarigal as well, which was supposed to be done for the 200.
Yeah, we kind of stole that from you, Dave.
Yeah, the Guardians, we helped out a little bit. We contributed a couple of things.
Yeah,
It's
tiny
very
zeal.
minor. Yeah. Tiny
Which
zeal.
obviously, it actually really helps contribute to the overall quest. So, into team love.
Yeah, you get the impression there's a lot of banter and we hate each other. But actually,
Well, that too.
well, every morning we cuddle.
I was really pleased with the team as a whole because everybody seemed really passionate about it. Whether they were graphics guys who were just trying to make something look really awesome, or our lore guys trying to make an amazing story from what we've already got.
Yeah. Go on, give a shout out to audio.
Yeah, the audio is amazing. So we've reworked, I think, nearly 30 tracks in total.
Blimey.
But and yeah, we've added 2 new ones, I think, for the quest, and yeah, reworked plenty, and they all sound great. So definitely turn all your volumes up at the start quest.
Excellent. Now, you guys are working on other things. I put down the wrong name for your scrum here. I do apologise. The Dukes. Yeah, you Dukes are working on other things. Is there anything you can reveal?
Oh, yeah.
Any exclusives?
Well, I think we've
stuff.
kind of brought everything within the light already.
I think within the last
Is there anything coming out towards summer's end?
So we're working on. So we're working on Easter currently. That is in full swing. So you should see that within the next few months.
We're in dire need of a new holiday event.
Oh.
It's neck and neck between you two, honestly. One of you needs to slip on it. Okay, so
I've given up by this point.
Yeah, you're way behind. You're with me.
Yeah, so like obviously Easter coming out at Easter.
Yeah.
We're as we kind of said on the Twitch stream the other day, we've got Quest 201 in the works. We're making very, very early start to the concept of that. We'll hopefully be able to release.
Just seeing that concept this morning, and it's oh man, can't wait.
Still super secret though.
It's pretty epic.
Not even topic we don't know, do we?
And we've been looking a little bit more at the livestock project as well. So in addition to the farming skill, to have animals that you can rear as opposed to farming crops.
Excellent. Do I get to farm animals?
Well, we've been debating the animals quite a lot. We've got a massive list of 100 different creatures that we could potentially pick from.
Yeah.
As our initial offering, in most likelihood, it would be that sort of small amount, like 3 perhaps, and with a mind to potentially expanding in future.
Excellent. And it's coming up to 200 quests. Now, this is 199, obviously. Do you have a favourite quest that you've worked on personally? I know that gives you a small list. Mod Ollie.
Well, Missing Presumed Death, Shadow over Ashdale, Broken Home, and then Dishonour Among Thieves. I don't know if I can pick a favourite, really. They've
children.
all been totally different.
You so do. I'm sorry.
I honestly don't know. Do you mean favourite to work on or favourite result?
Favourite result. Let's go for favourite result.
I would say, like, personally, playing through it and the lore and, like, how happy I am with my writing and stuff, Dishonour Among Thieves is my favourite.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. I also loved working on Mighty Fall, just trying to flesh out the Bandosian characters,
I really
making them a
enjoyed the
bit
bosses
more
in that.
interesting than what they've been in the past. Like Zerador is up the top there with some of my favourite characters now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back in time a little bit to when I was a developer and say Lunar Diplomacy.
Lunar, I thought you were going to say back in time to the meeting history class.
Not quite that far. That would have been a good additional name drop, wouldn't it? No, simply because even though it took quite a lot of hard work to produce it, I think it had a fair impact on the game.
Yeah.
In terms of, like the rewards, like the spell books, and such like.
Yeah, that was quite nice.
Although it was massive and the budget for it was pretty nice.
Forget the character for it. What's his name? It's a lot,
you're thinking of Dream.
We'll cut that bit.
Okay, let's put that.
And now we're moving on to quests that you haven't made, so I don't want you to be blowing your own trumpets here. Mm-hmm. What's your favourite quest in-game?
Really enjoyed The World Wakes.
Yeah. Did you cry?
I didn't cry. No.
Oh, okay. No man tears.
I'm not a crier. You have to come back to me.
Yeah, World Wakes is really good. I really enjoyed Branches of Darkmire as well. So that'll be interesting to see what we get for Mikey 6 as well, because that's in the works, I believe.
Love Branches.
Yeah, but I don't know. Coming back to Elemental Workshop 3, I just think that puzzle is beautiful.
Oh my!
Controversial, I know.
Marmite quest.
Yeah,
my word. Go on.
Phil's stolen mine because I was going to say Elemental Workshop as well. I'm a fan of the series. I like content that goes about things in a slightly different way, and I think that those quests stand out quite differently against the other quests.
Okay, so hop on the Elemental Workshop 5 hype train.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Maybe we'll get to develop one of those quests in the future.
That would be great.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. So just looking at the scores, we have, at the bottom is... Tim, I'm sorry, you have one.
I've won. Oh,
well, we're going to see right now how the mighty fall.
Okay, that's changed everything.
They've chalked it up.
Okay,
this might be your swan song.
Right, okay, I'm going to get through this quickly so we can actually finish. I've got 2, and we have Ollie and Phil drawn on 6.
Oh,
congratulations, guys. Beautiful. You both get to share the trophy. There is no trophy. I will buy each of you a chocolate bar from our vending machines. Congratulations.
Bonus.
Love it.
Wow. Love it. I know Mod Ollie won't eat that.
Oh, I will.
Oh, you will?
I like the taste of victory.
Wow. What about your guns?
The taste of drawing.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening, audience, and we hope to catch you next week when there will be another podcast. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.